Good morning and a hearty welcome. This is TMI Socials. I am Chukwufumnanya Adigwe, and I will be your guide through the ups and downs of the social media space. Without further ado, let's get into it. For the first one, a statement from Senator Enyinanya Abaribe is sparking conversations online. During a recent cable television appearance, the senator revealed that the National Assembly was never consulted about the purchase of a new presidential plane. Abaribe said, "Nobody brought anything to the National Assembly to say, please approve this for the purchase of a new plane. It was done without my knowledge. I never saw any document." This bold claim has raised questions about due process and transparency in government spending, igniting strong reactions across social media. Let's first take a look at the video, and then we'll dive into some of the reactions pouring in from Nigerians online.
There are so many things.
But you and your colleagues approved all of that.
Well,
you were in the National Assembly when all of that was
I am
going
in the National Assembly, but I can tell you for a fact that nobody, quote me, show, nobody brought anything to the National Assembly to say, please approve this for purchase of a new plane.
So it was done without the approval of the National Assembly?
I'd say it was done without my knowledge.
All right, so he did make those bold and strong claims. Now let's take the reactions, what people are saying on the social media space. For the first reaction, this one does say, "Another revelation. We are in a deep mess. So Mr. Tinubu just spent money without approval. Nigeria is gone for real." Let's take the next reaction on this one. The next reaction says, "When you see..." Can we take the next reaction on this one? The next reaction says, "When you see these empty heads complaining, just know the leakages where they have been sucking the nation is being blocked. Last year, 109 senators got a brand new Toyota Land Cruiser each, worth over 100 million. 360 rep members got Prado each. That is not excessive." Well, a question there. Now let's take the final comment on this. This comment says, "Just imagine how opposition parties have a huge role to play and do not have to be in power to contribute to good governance. They are to serve as checks and balances and ensure transparency and accountability. But nay, PDP is busy plotting to be in power instead. What a bloody shame. Both APC and PDP all the same." Well, that is it for that story and the reactions that follow it. Now let's take the next social media trending story. This one comes from Davido's recent podcast appearance in America, which is causing and still causing waves. He advised Africans to remain in the US, stating, "Leave America and go where? The Nigerian economy is in shambles." Among the contenders to this remark is APC chieftain and Senator Joe Igbokwe, who called the comment unpatriotic and urged Davido to retract it, arguing that Nigeria played a huge role in his success. Now let's watch Davido's podcast clip just as reference, and then we'll take comments following Igbokwe's remarks.
Leave America and try to find those.
Leave America and go where?
Back home.
Let's be honest. Go back where? It's not cool back home.
It's not?
My country now is in the economy now is in shambles.
But if people are leaving,
I do my part.
Yeah,
I'm an ambassador. So when I go home and I'm filming and showing, I'm not gonna show the bad parts. I ain't gonna show all the bad
You're not gonna try to
parts.
slum. You're not gonna show the trenches.
No, I go to the trenches.
Yeah.
I film the trenches, but I'm talking about the situation in the country.
Yeah.
We Nigerians, you know what I'm saying? Like now the exchange rate is messed up. A lot of stuff not going well. You know what I'm saying? The economy is just not good. And the oil prices are too high. And imagine a country that
Well, as you see, Davido is not taking it easy. He is telling it, guess as it is. And Igokwe also remarked to this, as I prior said. Now let's take reactions that are trailing this one on the social media space. The first one says, he is talking about the bad government so they can do better and Nigerians will come back home. Not Joe Igokwe, where they are ashamed of himself, not Davido. It goes on to say, end bad government. Now let's take the next social media reaction, which says, just because you are a Davido fan does not mean you should blindly follow all he says. If Davido claims to be an ambassador and has the listening ears of fans and the people all over the world, he should be more conscious of his statements. Imagine the ambassador of Nigeria to any foreign land saying that his own country is messed up and that no one should bother coming over. How will that sound? But because it's Davido saying it, all of you at the comment section are nodding your heads. Just imagine the surprise comments from the host. Davido is not wrong by speaking the truth, but he should know better since his words carry weight. Davido is more popular than any ambassador from Nigeria, so saying stuff like this is not cool. Plus, any need for the American accents? Really, I don't know. Well, let's take the next one from Daniel Rega. Daniel Rega says, Davido should do a research about the USA and update himself about their challenges. Nigeria needs fixing, true, but has he used his platform to address any pressing issue, even when it makes the headlines? Let him not forget that his uncle is also part of the government. Well, let's take the last reaction before we move forward. The last reaction from George Wifo says, oh my God, Davido deciding to tell the truth on global stage has created a two-edged sword effect. He told the truth, especially within the context of him being a Yoruba man and not being tribal in any way by protecting his country and tribesman. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, however, given his global celebrity status and the megastar that he is, he would have been more diplomatic, with his response, even without lying about it. But I wouldn't be mad about the truth, even at that. Let our people and our leaders do better. Well, that's the reactions on that, and that's the whole story. Let's quickly move on to the next one. The next one says, a controversy is unfolding online following reports that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is planning to sign an executive order removing transgender personnel from the U.S. military. These claims have sparked intense conversations about discrimination, inclusion, and military policy under Trump's leadership. The reports allege that this move is part of Trump's early executive actions post-election. Critics argue that such a policy would be a step back in fostering inclusivity within the armed forces. Now let's just take a quick close look at the reactions that follow this report. For the first one from Adania Thimothy, she says, how can he sign an executive order when he hasn't been inaugurated yet? The Biden administration has not ended. This is dumb and embarrassing. Trump's administration kicks off in January 20, 2025. Let's take the next social media reaction. The next one says, this must happen. As a former service member, I can tell you this is causing lots of undue strife in the military, and mental illness is a disqualifying condition, just like flat feet are. The military is no place for any social experiments whatsoever. Let's take the next netizen's comment on this one. This one says, the lengthy process of transitioning, counseling, drugs, surgery, recovery makes the individual undeployable for months, possibly years. That means the reduced number of deployable military members must leave their families for months at a time, more often. Is that how we should treat our military? One could possibly enlist transsexuals after they complete transition on their own and demonstrate mental stability like bipolar service members who enlist. Let's quickly take the last one before we move on to our next trending story. This one from Ricky says, transgenders have no place in the military. If we needed to play make-believe in the military, we'd enlist magicians. Well, let's now move on to our last story. Our last social media report for today says, Dele Momodu, speaking on a podcast, revealed spending 50 million naira on the PDP presidential nomination form in 2023, only to receive no votes at the primaries. He expressed frustration with the lack of internal democracy in Nigerian politics and announced he wouldn't run for the presidency again. Momodu criticized the system, highlighting the challenges for fresh voices in politics. Oh, let's take a look at the video to hear him directly, and then we'll take social media reactions.
Party decides to adopt me, where you have a consensus of people who say, hey, Dele Momodu is best suited to change and to lead Nigeria, then I can consider it. But if I would have to pick my money to go and buy a presidential nomination form of about 100 million sometimes, the last one I spent about 50 million buying the form. Yeah, 50 million would have bought me a property, you know, and it was a waste. Nobody voted, not even one vote, because everything was monetized. There was one of the candidates who paid as high as $30,000 per delegate, and we had 774 delegates. Yeah. So how do you want to compete with them? They've stolen the country blind, and they are doing all kinds of deals to make money, especially those in the oil-rich areas. It's not easy. You can't compete with them. That's why they insult Nigerians anyhow, because the amount of money available to them in raw cash. There is no country in the world where people control raw cash like Nigeria. The bulk of their money is not in any bank, so they are not traceable to any bank. And so they have the money. If today you say to some politicians that, look, you need $500 million to become a president, they will find it. So people like us, where will I start from? So I'm not bothered. I've almost given up. I'll be 65 my next birthday. I may look and feel young, but truth is I'm an old man. Jivem Abiola, my father, died before he was 61. That scares me every.
Well, 15 million naira is quite a lot of money for a primaries form, don't you think? Let's see what netizens are saying about this. For the first reaction from Husband Material, it says he knows his capacity in the party and he knows that he can't get a single vote, but he bought the forum on purpose. But this is a fact that shows Nigerian politics is a business to our politicians, and they are only after their pockets and not the welfare of the citizens. Quickly, the next reaction on this one. The next reaction says politics has become a business now. He only bought the form so he could step down later. He's not telling us the full truth yet. Let's take the next reaction on this one. The next reaction says, Uncle Dele Momodu has failed to accept he was just a joke at the PDP primaries. You joined the PDP in October 2021. When asked, you said you had no ambition to be president. Suddenly, you picked up the form in March 2022. Prior, you had zero political mileage. Sir, what were you expecting? 300 delegate votes? I beg. Let's take the last one before we wrap it up. The last social media reaction says, if you were asked to use that money to help poor people and those in need, you won't. But to get power, you will. God will not look back in punishing the wicked. A country with a lot of poor people, you're buying a ticket for 50 million. God forbid. Well, that is about it for our trending stories and the reactions that trail them. Thank you very much for being a part of this.